Hey guys, welcome back. This is Nod Lammers Invoked 101. Today I'm going to be talking about my ban list predictions slash wish list. This is just some stuff that either I think needs hit, or I would like to see hit, or in general stuff that I think will get hit. There's some stuff, and I actually talked to some of my Discord goblins. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a iCard up here for the Discord goblin stream. There's some cool guys. I was talking with them yesterday about some stuff that we thought might get hit, some stuff to address some things without totally taking some stuff out. But there's some other stuff that I think does need addressed, and a few things that I think should be hit. I have my phone over here with all my things, because if I don't have it over here, then I'm going to forget. Before we get into it, real quick, if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. Check that button out down below. There's also some links down below if you feel like supporting the channel. You can join the Discord. You can back us on, there's my Cashapp down there, and there's also our Teespring. So if you want to get some of my merch, which includes just the Invoked 101 logo, but also our Speedroid Cult merch, and then we also have Mio's merch down there for Angel of Alchemy. So if you feel like getting yourself some Nubbins stuff, you can check that out. All those links are down below. And also, if you feel like getting yourself some awesome, cool custom sleeves like these ones right here with these awesome little Nubbins things right there on them, you can check that out by using my affiliate code for your playmat. That's also down in the description. So check all that stuff out. With all the promotion out of the way, let's get into the band section. I have quite a bit on my band section. Like, this is just a big list in general because there's a lot of stuff. I was going through the band list, and I literally was looking at the band list while I was making this, and I was like, oh, that can come off, that can come off, that can come off. And I was like, so there's a lot of stuff that moves, but for band stuff, it's a lot of stuff that either needs hit or that I think should get hit. So starting us off, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to hit DPE in some way. Let's talk about that. And originally I just said ban Fusion Destiny, the card is stupid. But I was talking to my Discord goblins the other day, and I was thinking about it. If you ban Celestial, that solves like the big problem a lot of people have with him, which is that big draw 2 that they can get just by doing that. The only other way that they would be able to get a draw 2 by using the Destiny Hero package is with Disc Commander, and that forces them to summon the Disc Commander to the field instead of the DPE, which is much easier to hit than instead of like, because Celestial banishes his cost, you have to use Skullmeister or something beforehand before he can go off. I just feel like if you ban Celestial instead of Fusion Destiny, that keeps DPE playable for Destiny heroes while also keeping them their Fusion spell, but then limiting the garnets, the good garnets that Destiny heroes have for other splashing decks, for stuff that splashes DPE. And now you may say, oh, well, hitting Celestial is going to hurt Destiny heroes a lot more than it should. It won't. They already play him as like either a 2 of or a 1 of. He's not played very much in that deck. The entire deck already says draw card, so banning Celestial won't hurt the deck that much. Let's hit Celestial, keep DPE in just a little bit longer, see how that goes out, and if he continues to be a problem, we'll hit him then. Let's talk about Tron a little bit. Actually, following up on the DPE thing, let's ban Scythe. I know some people say ban Dagda. Scythe has recurrently been a problem, either whether it been Artifact Sanctum or, I guess, Artifact Sanctum, or just him being splashed in other decks just to stop the opponent from playing from their extra deck. The extra deck has become a core component for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I personally don't like cards that lock you out of a certain mechanic. Like, I don't like anything that permanently, like Imperial Order, which is also on my list. Like, stuff like that, I don't think when it shuts off an entire mechanic, I don't think it should be in the game. Let's get rid of Scythe. Dagda isn't a problem, because guess what? What is Dagda going to set whenever you have no Scythe? It's going to set Morale Talk, and Morale Talk is just a pop. Who cares? So let's get rid of that. Then we have the big Samorglink, the Samorglink 3. That card has just been proving itself to be a problem, whether it be Flunderies or Tri-Brigade. And again, it's a card that completely locks you out of playing the game. Like, I understand that, like, oh, the barrier statue says you can only summon wind, and it's like, yeah, for me, a Speedroid player, that's not a problem, but for everyone else, that is a big issue. So, I feel like banning the barrier statue doesn't solve anything, because then they just play Apex Avion, and that's also another negate on top of the banish, on top of all the other stuff that deck sets up. So let's just ban the Samorglink, so that way I can target their stuff with Imperm, and I don't have to use droplets. Let's do that. Like I mentioned, Imperial Order. Imperial Order is an unfair card. Yes, it stops Sky Striker, which is my least favorite deck in the whole game, I feel, but like at the same time, Imperial Order is just an unfair card unless you open the out or you have like monsters that can pop it, and then you combine this with other stuff and it just becomes a problem. So let's just get rid of IO, because this card, flipping this card just wins the game on its own. So now we're more into the I want this to get hit because I want it to be addressed. Let's ban Engage. Why did that ever come back? You gave them 3 Widow Anchor, 3 Kagari, and then 1 Engage while they still have multi-roll. Let's get rid of that. It was either banning Engage, which is already at 1, or it was banning Ray, and I didn't want to kill an entire deck that's getting support that it doesn't need. Let's just throw that. I don't like Sky Striker at all. I haven't liked Sky Striker since it came out, and I think it promotes a degenerate style of gameplay. Let's just get Engage out, call it a day, get rid of it. This is a way to kind of address Sword Soul right now, and I know people are saying, oh, Sword Soul isn't that big of a problem, Sword Soul isn't that big of a problem. I don't know, dude. It's still doing really well, and I think it's still kind of a problem, especially since I think the OCG just addressed Sword Soul in their ban list. It's been a minute since I looked at their list, but let's ban the Heavenly Dragon Circle, the Tenyi spell. Let's get rid of that, and I know that hurts Tenyi a lot, and as a Tenyi player, that really does hurt, because like that card was something that we wanted. That was a card we needed, but unfortunately, it's being abused by the Sword Soul deck to dodge impermanences, to dodge forbidden droplets, to dodge all this different stuff. And so I just feel like this card promotes a weird style of gameplay and doesn't allow the opponent to interact. And one thing that I hate about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is when there's cards that don't allow you to interact with your opponent. This game is supposed to be between 2 players. Let's make it about the 2 players. And then, I think I only have one more card. Did I mention Drytron? Did I hit Drytron already? Let's talk about that. So there's 2 options I feel that you could hit. Technically 3, but I think these 2 are the better ones. If you ban Ava or you ban Ben 10, one of these 2, I feel like that puts enough of a curve on the deck. Specifically banning Ava, because then it turns your Herald of Ultimateness from like a 5 or 6 negate to a 2 negate minimum or maximum. So I feel like hitting the Ava is the correct one, but if you hit Benton, it also removes the Diviner, which removes consistency. So I feel like that's either one of these could go both ways. You could also hit Arclight if you really wanted to, but I think that that's not a correct hit. So let's go down into our limited section. Oh wait, no, there's one more card I want banned, and this is legitimately just because I want it banned. Let's ban Update Jammer. I don't like Update Jammer at all. This is just me being me. I don't like Update Jammer. I think the card is unfair. I think it makes access code unfair. I think it's made every link that it goes into unfair. And yes, I know it's only for Cybers, but when 3 of the 5 major Cybers decks that have come out have been meta and have been good, we're talking Code Talkers, Salamangreat, and Ignister, all of which are able to OTK no problem or just straight up lock you out of your extra deck. I think Update Jammer needs addressed, and the only other answer is to ban access code. So either ban update or ban access code. Now moving into the limited section. The first card I want to address is Zeus. I just think putting Zeus to 1 is fine. I think this is a hit that should have been, these first couple are hits I feel should have been on the last list. If you put Zeus to 1, it puts a major curve on decks that can just spit out Zeuses, and also fellow collaborator Ben 10,000 mentioned that you could swing Zeus and then slap a Zeus on top of it to kind of reset its materials if you have a smaller Zeus. And I was like, oh god, you can do that, can't you? So I think putting this to 1, also like he mentioned, would be a good idea. So let's do that. Also, let's hit Revolt to 1. Tri-Brigade Revolt. I think that this card is really unfair in terms of just being able to continuously do it and get back all that advantage, get all the stuff set up in your graveyard, and then also banish a card non-targeting on my turn. I understand that this is supposed to be an interactive game, but just getting all of that and going off basically saying our turn is a little crazy. So let's take care of that. That's a bit of a problem. Then the rest of these rest of the limited section is more of a wish list in a way. I want Widow Anchor to 1. Again, I don't like Sky Striker, and I think Widow Anchor should have never came back to 3. So let's put Widow Anchor back to 1. You can keep your 3 Kagaris and your 1 multi-roll, but let's get rid of Widow Anchor. Next up, shout out to my boy Gara, because I want Colossus back at 1. Colossus at 1, now without the Union Carrier, I feel he could really come back at 1 and just give Thunder Dragons that push that they need to kind of come back into the fold, because Thunder Dragons themselves are really good they just don't have anything that they can actually do. So giving them back one Colossus, I feel there's enough outs right now that he could come back and not be as big of a problem as he was back then. And I understand that like searching is way bigger of a thing now, but at the same time, I think Thunder Dragons have been power crept enough that they'd still be good, but giving them Colossus would let them come back as like a tier 2-ish deck. Next up is Ancient Fairy Dragon. Destrudo's banned, and I don't see a lot of decks just spamming out level 7 synchros. Yes, this might be good for Infernoble. It might give Infernoble a new toolbox to use, but at the same time, I don't think that this is all that great. And you know what, if I'm wrong, if there's something I'm completely missing about Ancient Fairy Dragon, let me know, because I think this card could legitimately come back to 1, and if it's not a problem, just put it back at 3. Next up is Spellbook of Judgment. As an old Spellbook player, I would really like Judgment back at 1, especially since multi-roll is at 1, and that's just Spellbook of Judgment essentially. I think it's kind of unfair that that a deck that has survived for 3 years and had a ton of its cards hit or banned was still topping and kept its Spellbook of Judgment, but the OG Spellbook of Judgment has not come back for Spellbooks. Spellbooks isn't going to do anything with 1 Judgment. If you just put it at 1, leave it at 1, don't give them any more, they'll be fine. Just 1 Spellbook of Judgment is all they need. And the last card I want hit, and this one I put on here because I think if you hit all the other stuff I mentioned, like if you ban the stuff in my ban section, I think that Tron and Dragon Link, and this is a Dragon Link card, I think both of those decks do need addressed. But I think hitting Quick Launch to 1 is the correct hit. Let's just put that card at 1 and see what happens, because Dragon Link does need addressed. It's needed addressed for a while, and LP getting banned is a good thing, but Quick Launch to 1 would also work. So I only have 2 cards for my semi-limited list, and it's just 2 cards I think could come back. The first one obviously is Called by the Grave. Clearly, Crossout Designator is not doing what it's supposed to, and even in the OCG, they put Crossout to 1, which I believe means they have 2 Called Bys, 1 Crossout, which it'd be really cool if we could, like, Crossout itself is kind of a 2 of it anyways, so I think it'd be really nice if we had Called By back out 2, just to help hit the things that legitimately need to be hit. Put that card to 2. If it's really that big of a problem, we can put it back down to 1. But right now, with Crossout, where you can cross out a Called By, I think this card at 2 would be fine. The other card I have at 2 is Salamangreat Circle. I think Salamangreat Circle to 2 would be okay, just to try it out. I know that's giving Salad a lot of utility, a lot of searching, a lot of consistency, and I know that, and like I said, but again, if you hit Update Jammer to remove that piece of OTK ability that they have with Access Code, I think putting Circle back to 2 would be okay. I know it has that protection effect, but I would like to see how this card plays out at 2, and if it really is that big of a problem, like if it does give the deck too much consistency, then yes, let's put it back down to 1, but for right now, I think putting it to 2 would be okay. The other card, oh no, I have another semi-limited card. Scapegoat. I think Scapegoat, they just put it to 3 in the OCG. Early on with Links, yes, Scapegoat was a problem. I think token generators early on in Link format was a big problem. But this card has been at 1 since Master Rule 4, since like the beginning of Master Rule 4, and we're well into Master Rule 5 now. I think putting this card to 2 would be okay. If it proves to not be a problem, just bring Scapegoat back. I understand some people are gonna be like, oh, Scapegoat, flip it, make Link. Yes, that's gonna happen, but at the same time, we have Nibiru now. So there's so much stuff we have that can just stop Scapegoat, because Scapegoat fulfills its own requirement on its own, and then you start linking them together and link climbing with the tokens, that's Nibiru bait. So I think putting Scapegoat to 2 would be okay for now. Let's try that out. Last up for my unlimiteds, these are all either cards I feel should just come off, and as well as 1 wishlist card. So starting off, Red MD, the card is a once per turn now. It's a hard once per turn, so I think Red MD, Red Eyes Darkness Metal, that can come off. Just bring that back to 3. Skullcrobat Joker, that's at 2 right now. It's on the semi-limited list, that can come off. Digusto Emerald. What deck is playing Digusto Emerald? And I understand Emerald is really cool because it's a tiny pot of avarice, but guess what? The only deck that actually wants to take advantage of Digusto Emerald is Suship. I feel like a Digusto Emerald can just come straight off the list, no problem. Then we have Night Assailant. Night Assailant is a card that says when it's discarded, you get to add a flip monster except this card from the graveyard back to your hand, so it can add other copies of Night Assailant. And I understand that might be like, oh, it's a discard engine like Sinister Serpent. But who's gonna play Night Assailant in 2022? But yeah, that card can come back to 3. Lastly, a card that I wish would come back to 3, and especially if you do some of the hits on this ban list, I think this card could definitely come back to 3. Max C. Let's bring Max C back. And this isn't just because I'm a bug player. Do what?
No! You did this in the last ban list and everyone gave you crap for it, including me. Max C cannot come back.
Max C to 3. Let me know what you guys thought about in the comments below. I'll be, again, while you're down there, there's going to be links to our different merch. You can get some Speedroid stuff merch. You can get some Invoked 101 merch. You can get some of Angel of Alchemy's Nubbins merch, as well as checking out that affiliate link for your playmat where you can get yourself some awesome custom sleeves just like the ones right here. And with that all said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.